Hi there, it's Coot here, sending you love wherever you are around the world. You know, I often get a lot of questions, whether it's in my Man Breakthrough Experience weekends, whether it's via email, around the topic of love and relationship. I think no matter who we are as human beings, we all want to love, whether it's romantically, whether it's intimately, whether it's with our children. There is an impulse inside of us to love because that's who we are. And I get a lot of questions of people saying, you know, Coot, love is so challenging. Love is, is so painful. Love is so intense. I say love itself is not necessarily painful. It's our misunderstanding. It's our own programming, our patterning, our conditioning that we then try and impose upon love, and we try and make it into a certain structure to fit a certain way of being that's prescribed, preset based on our own conditioning. That's when we experience pain with our own expectations and our own attachments and our own sense of trying to control what love is and the expression, the authentic, organic expression of the love that is seeking to happen in any moment with you and another person, a group of people, with you and your lover, with you and your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband. I say that one of the greatest keys to love is not control, but love is actually a letting go of control, to allow the force of love itself to express through you and your relationships. If you really want an amazing relationship, one of the keys, I believe, is to surrender your relationship to love, is to surrender your notion of how you think it should unfold and what you think it's going to be, and to ask for the highest good to be done between you and that particular human being, that particular person in your life. Knowing that you have attracted that individual, that romantic partner into your life at that particular point in time for a special purpose, for a soul assignment, that you and that person have karma together, that you and that person have a contract together, that you and that person have certain soul lessons to teach each other, that you have agreed at some point in your evolution to meet at this particular point in your lives to best teach each other to ultimately not just to be happy, not simply to fight, not simply to have little needs, but the real purpose of your relationship being that you have come together to reveal each other to each other, to reveal your true self through the form and the portal of your exchange with each other. That ultimately the purpose of relationship is to serve your highest evolution and your growth, and you come together in that moment because you and that person at that particular time were a vibrational match. And I believe that when you learn your lessons, when you learn the lessons for which you and that person have come together, those lessons could last a day, those lessons could last a week, those lessons could last a month, those lessons could last a lifetime, and those lessons could last several lifetimes. When you learn those lessons, that eventually it will force and invite the form of the relationship itself to shift, evolve, expand, change form, dissolve. If your relationship is constantly staying the same, I'm going to propose that your relationship is not actually growing. But if you're evolving and growing and your partner is evolving and growing, then the possibility for you to both evolve and grow together is there. But when one person evolves and grows and the other person doesn't evolve and grow, it actually puts a certain pressure on relationship. And often what happens is you reach a point where you're no longer compatible. You reach a point where you no longer either have similar visions or your just certain needs aren't being met, and ultimately you're no longer a vibrational match with that person. Sometimes it's painful because you might really deeply love that human being. You love them. You want to be with them. You've seen your future with them. You've seen babies with them and growing old with them. But as you grow, maybe that person isn't growing, and ultimately you're not evolving and growing together. I believe that to really have relationship work, you both have to be moving in a similar direction at a similar pace. Commit with a joint commitment and vision that is similar. And sometimes we often think with the possibility of a relationship coming to an end, and faced with the relationship ending or changing form, we often think that it's a failure. But I say there is no such failure in relationship. The only failure is not learning the lessons for which you were assigned to that relationship for. The only failure, so to speak, is not evolving and realizing and becoming a more authentic expression of who you are. If you are in a relationship and you've been together 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, and you aren't evolving and you aren't growing and you aren't expanding and becoming a more expanded version of your authentic self, I'm going to propose that even though you're together on paper, it might seem like a success, but if you're not evolving as a soul into your full magnificence, then you could say it's a failure. That ultimately, if you're growing and evolving, you are constantly succeeding on the path, on the evolutionary path of relationships. So if you're faced with the possibility of, do I break up? Do I stay together? Ask yourself this question: am I growing and evolving in this relationship? Is this relationship, is my relatedness, is this partner, are they causing me to grow? Is this relationship, is this partner, is being with this partner inspiring and evoking me to expand beyond myself? Is this relationship and is this partner causing and inspiring me to be the fullest, highest vibrational expression of who I am? Are they ultimately causing me to be the most authentic version of who I am? Because what saddens me is many times people get into a relationship and based on their own fears, their own patterns, their own wounds, because love often brings up everything unlike itself in order to be healed. It brings up, somehow it finds those places inside of you that are wounded. It finds those places inside of you that you've been ashamed of, that you've hidden, and it will force you to face those parts of yourself. So what often saddens me is when I see amazing individuals get into a relationship with another person, and in order to get love, in order to be approved, in order to fit in order to have that person love them, you end up selling yourself out, selling yourself short, withholding, playing small, not shining your light fully, because you, out of ultimately old patterns of survival that you learn to fit in, to get love from parents and school and in society and those around you, all of that gets triggered. And what saddens me is to see amazing people in relationships not being themselves fully. So ask yourself, if you're considering, can I be myself fully in this relationship? Am I being myself, and is there the space to be myself fully in this relationship? Is this relationship inspiring me to be myself fully? Am I growing? Ask yourself these questions. Because relationship will give you the opportunity and the invitation to evolve and grow. And when you together are going in a different direction and have stopped evolving and growing, you may want to reevaluate your relationship and why you are still in your relationship. You might say, well, because we've been together for so long, because it's comfortable, because he loves me. All of that's great, but the question is, are you growing and evolving into the highest expression of soul that you are? To me, this is what true soulmates are. When you come together, with your true soulmate, your true life partner, with even someone who you're just meant to be with at this particular time, a soulmate for a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, for this phase of your life. It may not always be easy, because those individuals, your soulmates, are the ones that will force and challenge and invite your soul to grow and evolve the most. They are your teachers, they are your gurus, they are your professors. They are the ones that will stretch you into becoming who you truly are. So if you're in a place where you're having to let go of a relationship, my invitation is this: trust. Trust that if you follow your heart, if you follow your truth, there's a part of you deep down that knows if this relationship serves you or not. Many times people say, well, I'm not sure, but there's a part of your soul that knows, there's an intelligence that knows. I invite you to trust that. Often I hear people say, well, I'll never find anyone like this ever again, who's going to love me like this ever again. The truth is, love is abundant. The truth is that what you and I are is love. So my encouragement, see, all forms change. All forms are constantly impermanent and are constantly changing. The hair changes, the sun changes, the clothes change, your body changes, how you feel changes, your emotions change, your mood changes, everything's constantly changing. What is real? So if you're going to be committed to something beyond just whatever the form of the relationship is, be committed to the loving. That no matter what happens in the form of your relationship with that person, no matter what happens in the form of your relationship with your lover, be committed to the loving no matter what. Because then no matter what happens with the form, you're in relationship, you're out of relationship, what matters is the loving. And when you are loving, and when you are committed to the loving, whether you break up, whether you're together, you are committed to what's real. And when you're committed to the loving, no matter what happens, you cannot fail. When you're committed to the loving, you always win. And I often say that it's often when you, especially when you love someone deeply, it can be difficult to let go. It can be so hard to let go. It can be so heartbreaking to let go, even though you might know that it's for the highest. And that's why I say that sometimes the love it takes to let someone go, the love it takes to trust your deeper truth and allow someone to move on and let them go, requires a bigger love than sometimes it takes to even stay in the relationship because that's what you want, because that's what you feels comfortable. It can require a bigger love to let go and release that person. So my invitation is to trust and know that when you follow your truth, when you follow your heart, and you open to the bigger love that is seeking to happen, your relationship with that person will find a bigger form that will allow more love to express than before. And as a result of you loving, even though the forms change, as a result of you loving and being committed to the loving, no matter what, you cannot lose, because in the loving you expand yourself, and as you expand yourself you open yourself to receiving at the level that you have dared to love. There is an abundance, my friends, there is an abundance of love in the universe. You are love, I am love, we are all love. The entire universe is a manifestation of love. And when you let go of perhaps something that was too small for you, you open yourself to allow the bigness of love that is life to manifest in your life in the form of people, situations, and the possibility of a romantic life partner if that's what you desire. You expand yourself to receive at that big level. You cannot outgive the universe. You cannot outlove the universe. My invitation is that you commit to the loving and that you trust, love, let go, knowing that when you let go, you allow for the highest situation to make itself manifest in your life. Remembering that whenever you have the opportunity to love another soul, another human being on this planet, even for 1 second, for 1 moment, for 1 minute, for 5 years, the privilege to allow another soul into you and another soul to allow you into them in and of itself is a huge blessing. So dare to let go, trust love, you are love. I love you. Love now. And if you enjoyed this blog, please subscribe. I'll be sending you some inspirational content over the next weeks and months and years to come. Sending you love wherever you are. Love now.